So we're Erev Shabbat. What are we, Joey? Hey Nissan, Tafshin Ayin Dalet?
Something like that.
Right, Hey Nissan, Tafshin Ayin Dalet. So in the main idea that I said in the Bricat Ha-Ilanot, the Derasha for Bricat Ha-Ilanot, was the idea of Harambam in the Moreh Rebuchim. Vayanach. What does the word Vayanach mean? So it says Vayanach Vayom HaShevi'i. Right? So Vayanach Vayom HaShevi'i means Hashem created a beautiful world.
So that the people could have menucha.
Right. So
not that he,
Right. But the idea of Harambam in the Moreh Rebuchim is that it's a menucha as a first person talking to a second person, where when the first person stops talking, he wants to hear what how the second person replies. So if you say beautiful words, poetic words, you want the other person to reply in kind. And the example I gave was with David HaMelech, where he comes to Nabal HaYisraeli, he says, listen, we're hungry, we didn't eat. And it was Erev Rosh Hashanah, they needed food for Seudat Yom Tov. So he says the most beautiful words, David HaMelech, Ve'ata Shalom, Ve'amartem, Kol Echai. Kol Echai means Kol Echaim should always be, the beauty that you have here should be forever. Kol Echai, Ve'ata Shalom, Ve'techa Shalom, Ve'kol Shelecha Shalom. What a beautiful words. So, an intelligent person, a person with a heart who hears this, he replies in kind, says, thank you for the beracha, may Hashem bless you also. Let me give you something to eat, of course, during this for Yom Tov, whatever it is. But in this case, the person answers, it says, so it says, Vayanuchu. Vayanuchu. They want to hear his intelligent reply. They want to, exactly. So, and his reply was inappropriate. Instead of saying, thank you very much, he says, Mi David u'mid ben Yishai, Rabbu ha'mitparesim ba'adonehem. So, Rabbu ha'abadim ha'mitparesim ba'adonehem, very insulting.
Abadim ha'mitparesim ba'adonehem is a hierarchic thing.
Right.
Hierarchy is superior.
Right.
David HaMelech is hierarchically inferior.
Right.
So you see the hierarchic mind playing a role, a dominant role.
Right. The Chachamim have very nice in the Midrash. They say that David was from Peres and he was from Zerach.
Yes.
So he said, you're from Peres, you're going to be Paretzim, you think you're going to be the Melech? I'm from Zerach. He was from Kaleb ben Yefuneh, the Chachamim said. So I said, I should be the Melech, not you should be the Melech. So it was a nice, very insulting.
It's a hierarchy.
Hierarchy, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
So I explained, Vayanach Vayom HaShevi'i, it's not that Hashem just created a beautiful world, and that He wants to see how do we react to this. So this is like the famous Midrash, I think in Zot HaBeracha, that when a Tzaddik sees the sun rise, he's so inspired, he has to say, Yosef Od Boreh Hashem. That's our reaction.
Exactly. Is a paradigm for the Tzaddik. And the same thing is in the sense in this world.
Right.
And it's up to you whether you want to perceive the same thing as beracha or as kerara. It's up to you.
Right.
You want to see that beracha, and this is the whole idea of Baruch Hashem. That we are aware of the beracha that you're giving us. And there are some people who simply they could complain. They know how to complain, and they see the negative. Yes, you gave me $1 million, but to my neighbor who is inferior to me, you gave $1,001,000. Yes, or whatever it is.
Right.
So there's always the possibility of kerala. But again, just like there always is a possibility of kerala, there's always a possibility to be of beracha.
Right.
And I remember the old times, Sephardim, your great grandfather. David Vaur, that whatever he used to have used to be so glorious, and for Shabbat, the Seudah, although it was not a sumptuous Seudah, but for him it was the most sumptuous Seudah, and for him your grandmother was the most beautiful woman in the world.
Right.
Yes, and it's true that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but also beracha is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
You say, you could say, Israel became so much trouble, so much headache, that maybe soon, but no, that is the way a Tzaddik, a Hakam, reacts towards the world. He sees the positive. Yes.
Right. So I said very nicely, not Peshat, but I said, so I said very nicely, one of the names of the Mishkan, Mishkan Shemecha. שלחו באש מקדשך, לארץ הללו משכן שמך. So Mishkan Shemecha. So I said, the idea of Mishkan Shemecha is like Avraham Avinu, Vayikra Sham B'Shem Adonai El Olam. So it says, what does it mean Vayikra Sham? It means Avraham Avinu had a certain knowledge of Hashem. And this knowledge that Avraham Avinu had of Hashem was something that he has a choice now. What do you do with that knowledge? So I said, you have, for example, the monks in the mountains in Tibet. You know, they go up to the mountains, they reach a certain knowledge, and that knowledge dies with them because they never go down and transmit it to the Hamon Am. Whereas by us, when Avraham Avinu reaches this level of knowledge, Vayikra Shem, he calls upon the people, and he teaches them. He teaches them. Right. So Vayikra Shem. So this is Mishkan Shemecha. I said when a person enters the Mishkan, he's in the presence of the Shekinah, and you can't be passive. Mishkan Shemecha. You have to call upon the name of Hashem. You have to react, and that's what's called Mishkan Shemecha. So Avraham Avinu reacts. Vayikra Shem B'Shem Adonai El Olam. So I ended very nice the derasha. I said, so this is the Bricat Ha-Ilanot. As Avraham Avinu, Bricat Ha-Ilanot. What? Because the pasuk before says, "Vayita Eshel b'Be'er Shava, Vayikra Shem B'Shem Adonai El Olam." So I said, the Eshel, that's he plants the trees, he sees the beauty of the world, and then
but you were saying something about Mishkan, yes?
Yeah.
Mishkan Shemecha.
Yeah.
And Mishkan Shemecha has to do with the word Shekinah.
Yeah.
What do you mean this is the presence of God?
Yeah.
Some people they go to Everest mountain or whatever it is, and they see the presence of God.
Right.
But they don't see the Shekinah.
Right.
What is the difference between the presence of God, as the Goyim say, and the Shekinah? Why, for instance, when you have 10 people, you have the Shekinah? I tell you why. Because when you have 10 people and you have the Shekinah, you say, Amen, Yeshem Rabbah. It means it demands of you, it elicits a response from Shekinah. Shekinah means I have to respond, to elicit. You cannot stay passive, as you said before.
Right.
You can't stay mute. You know, you have to say something. You have to do something. And in the Shekinah, in that sense, is not only the Shekinah is dynamic, but it makes other people to be dynamic.
Right.
V'shachanti b'tocham means they're going to be dynamic.
Right. And that's why when you go to the Bet HaMikdash for the Aliyah L'Regel, you have to bring Olat Ve'iyah. You have to acknowledge you're in the presence of God. You have to bring Shameh Chagiga and Shameh Simcha. These are different forms of expression.
Yes.
You know, some of the expressions are private between you and
because
Hashem.
it elicits from you, it demands from you a response.
Right. And notice the response is ושמחת אתה וביתך והלוי אשר בשעריך והגר. You bring everybody to join in the simcha. You just had a very special experience. So the Olat Ve'iyah is private, that's between you and Hashem. But then you have the Shameh Chagiga and the Shameh Simcha. And for the Shameh Simcha you have to bring everybody to enjoy it. So it's a public expression of what you just experienced. And that's the whole point of the
It's not only a public expression, it's also an expression that we should be shared with the public. I think that's what you meant.
Right, yes.
In other words, again, you are dynamic, but you make the other also dynamic. And so you involve other people in your presence. And say, and that is the Kaddish.
Yeah.
You say Kaddish, but this demands that people say, Amen, Yeshem Rabbah.
Right.
You know, you're happy, yes, and that's why you say Kaddish, yes, the Shekinah is there, and how does it express this happiness? That the people say, Amen, Yeshem Rabbah.
Right, right.
That's
Sorry, I want to go to the next subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I have a question I want to ask, but I want to do it a separate thing.